G'day everybody, welcome to Friday Sews. Okay, today just showing you guys a little bit of a catch up. I have actually completed some sewing and today Titty helped take a couple more photographs to get the video ready for all my makes, and yes, it's another bumper edition. And yeah, quickly got changed. It is a wonderful sunny day today, albeit windy, and yes, there is going to be a bloop take. Every time I do my best to do an intro, something always goes wrong. Usually traffic or dogs barking or some kind of noise. You know how it rolls. First time picking the camera up today. It's currently Thursday, Arvo, 14:28 p.m. and yeah, so not really too much to kind of show you guys this week. And yeah, hope everybody is having a good week and sewing up lots of wonderful things. Righto, so this Butterick B4790, which I have here. Yeah, so that is progress. And you guys can have a little sneaky peek of it now. The front here is just pinned. I am kind of just letting it hang for a little while because obviously the skirt is for the most part on the bias, but nothing seems to be dropping as yet. It might be because the 100% cotton fabric, so there might be enough rigidity in it that hopefully nothing will drop, but leaving as is for a while. And also this dress is very bias tape hungry, and yeah, so got me a whole bunch of bias tape. Wish me luck guys, because yeah, there is going to be a whole bunch having to be added to this dress, and I will show you guys how I apply the bias tape. Pretty much I think standard for everybody, but a couple people have asked me, and yeah, I'll include that as well for you guys. Righto, also today Happy Mail arrived, and this is the colourway from this October's So Hayley Jane box that I was telling you about, and I offered to swap with the wonderful Tracy. And for those of you that saw the knitting and stitching video that I did, Tracy appears there in my video. And yeah, so on Instagram I had offered Tracy if she would like to swap, and yeah, she wanted to swap, so that's why I offered. Anyway, that colourway has now arrived and it's beautiful, and I would kind of call this like a cornflower blue, but kind of a little bit of a darker cornflower. Anyway, included, she had sent a really beautiful card. It's kind of got this wonderful watercolour going on, and of course birds. For everybody that knows me knows I absolutely adore birds. Well, just animals all over, so yeah, fantastic. And also something really yummy, and some chocolat, and they are not going to last very long. Yeah, I've kind of been doing my best to reduce my chocolat intake. Yeah, nah, that is not going to happen, definitely not. And yeah, gotta have me a little bit of Bailey's as well. Flavour, of course, I'm talking about here. So thank you so much, Tracy. And also, because Tracy had already put her fabric through the laundry, I've got to say, Tracy, your laundry detergent, oh, it smells divine. Absolutely beautiful. I know I'm strange, but it does. Guys, if there was smell-o-vision, I think you would agree. If you like this scent, it is a very pleasing scent to the nose. So thank you again, Tracy. You're so kind and so thoughtful. Righto, so a little kind of trick, I guess, for doing such a huge hem on this Walkaway dress is I have a long regular stitch length on the hem, And what I do is, so obviously I run a stitch line all the way, but instead of going the entire length of the hem, I then stop and break off and then start again, and just keep doing that all the way around the hem. And that is because it is easier to kind of pull these threads a little bit, because if you have threads that are so incredibly long, somewhere along the thread line there's a high possibility that the thread will actually snap. And yeah, just kind of stop that from happening, I kind of just stitch a long stitch for a little while, then stop and restart that again. And also it's actually gathered just a tiny little bit there, you can see. So that was kind of an extra little bit of good luck. But yeah, so when I then fold the hem over, obviously that has gathered that ever so slightly, and then therefore, because obviously it's more of a circular, you won't kind of get too much bunching, or at least here is a hoping that I will not get too much bunching. Righto, so I have now just pressed all the hem before I start sewing, and yeah, so thankfully the little trick that I did with pulling these threads and everything on that hem, because obviously as soon as you fold the fabric over it is then a different size, if that kind of makes sense, kind of the physics and dynamics of how that works. So I made sure that I made the stitching ever so slightly pull in, and thankfully because I had it on that longer stitch length it kind of actually pulled it in a little bit for me anyway. So yeah, I have just pressed that all the way along the hem, and there's miles and miles and miles and or kilometers of it. And yeah, so now what I'm going to do is just take it to the machine and stitch that down. I was going to hand stitch, but I just do not have the time. It's going to take hours if I hand stitch that, and yeah, I'm not mentally strong enough to do that. So yeah, just going to take it to the machine, stitch it, and obviously it will have a stitch line on the outside all the way around the circumference of the hem. That's okay, because yeah, it kind of blend in, I think, with the slight busyness of the fabric, and obviously the main colourway is white anyway, and the thread as I'm using is going to be white. So yeah, just going to do that now. Guess what, guys? I knew this was going to happen. I am so close to finishing sewing the hem on about 2.5 inches, and guess what? Yep, the bobbin decided it wanted to run out now. Guys, doing my best to show you this hem with this camera that's really annoying me. If I tilt it, it just makes that terrible sound. Okay, so both sides have been pressed, this side and on the good side, and yeah, so all along, hopefully now, that is an okay hem, and yeah, crisp and clean. Right, so now it is come to install the bias tape. I'm starting off with the neckline, so I'm going to go all the way around the circumference of the neckline. And I've made like a little crease line here, purely because when the bias tape goes all the way around, comes together, you get that little join, and I kind of would like that in the back instead of on the shoulder seam. So all I do is hit the camera. So all I do with the end of the bias tape, you can see that I have just folded that. So all I do is just bring it in a little tiny amount there and place that on the fabric making sure that everything is lined up. Then I take a pin just to secure that in place and then start sewing. I kind of am using a regular straight stitch, but I am, just for me, I'm going to, on my machine it's a Frista Rossmann, I'm going to do the stitch length a little bit longer. Instead of 2.5, I probably will go up to 3. So go all the way around the neckline, and also when applying bias binding, remember just not to stretch it, or otherwise you kind of get those like little ripples. So yeah, I'll come back to you and see how the installation of that came along. So on the bias tape I leave a little tail and just go over a little part of the previous bias tape there, just so it encloses that and joins together cleanly. Righto, so the bias tape has now been installed, so this is just half the process. I always make sure that little fold there is level. Then you have the natural fold from the manufacturer on the bias tape, and make sure that is all level. I fold that over the other one so we have a clean finish there, and then I am going to fold it again and then do ditch stitch. That will be fun, won't it? Just purely for demonstration purposes, I have just put a pin the other side, and yeah, so once I started folding that down, I will then get the iron and press that. It helps to create the crease, and obviously it helps to get a clean finish, and just as you're sewing along, to kind of almost like a guide. I know some sewing machines actually have, you know, feet to help with the guide and everything like that when it comes to sewing. And yeah, so when I've prepped all that and given it a good press, and then it's time to ditch stitch. Righto, so I have ditch stitched and pressed all that down, and yeah, I think that's okay. So there's the back, and yeah, I think it's come out pretty clean. And for the most part, I know there's just one teeny tiny bit that I kind of missed on the bias tape, but yeah, managed to catch it all when I did the ditch stitching. Righto, I know it's dinner time, 1800, and yeah, I thought after all the installation of that bias tape, the yummy chocolat that came today from the wonderful Tracy, yes, I have opened them. I've been very good. I did only indulge in one. Oh my goodness, Tracy, you have now started me on something. I'm going to go down the rabbit hole, and yes, this might be a thing that I end up purchasing some of these as a naughty little decadent treat. Oopsie. Yes, tonight for dinner it's just pizza and wedges. Usually there's garlic bread that accompanies that, but the stores have not had garlic bread for a couple of weeks. Oh no! It's like Titty and I are like, ugh, surviving on fumes, because we really like garlic bread, don't we, darling?
Yeah.
Yeah, he says with a mouthful of pizza behind me. Righto, so yeah, all that bias tape has now been completed. I just have to do a couple more things to the dress and then it's finally finished. Anyway, let's go eat my dinner. Also, today, Love Sewing magazine has arrived, and with it is 2 pattern. I will have to check. I'm pretty sure I have this pattern, which also came with maybe this magazine or a different magazine, so I may have a duplicate. I'll have to check that. If not, then I have this. Now, most of you guys can remember that this Vogue pattern V9075 had made all the rounds in the sewing community a bunch of time ago. I never made it. I may do now. Who knows? And the other one is just a regular classic wrap dress, this is called. And yeah, looks okay. I like the kind of floofy sleeves there, and it's got a slight curve on the hem there. So yeah, may give that a go. So I'm going to keep these two patterns. If I do have this one, obviously I'm not keeping two because it'll probably be the same size. So yeah, there we go. Right on this evening, it is the Pink Ladies Zoom. They have a catch up there. That's always great fun listening to see what everybody's been up to. And hopefully tomorrow, if I'm okay, I will go regularly. Also, I have been doing just small little increments of work in the garden, just kind of just picking up the boring weeds that kind of just, I don't know, they just breed frantically, don't they? And of course, Rene has been very, very busy and enjoying me doing the weeding because then he gets lots of worms. Also, just kind of tidying up the little pot plants and deadheading all the little bits that kind of just, yeah, need tidying up really. And yeah, just kind of just sorting out the leaves, fall season and everything. There we go, the sun's back. It just kind of is just starting to dip behind the huge tree that is across the road. And yeah, so yeah, getting ready for fall season. Sometimes it kind of feels never ending because all the leaves just obviously continuously fall down, but yeah, if we kind of just do little increments at the time, that way it's not too much of a huge task then to do the garden kind of as one huge task. It's great to kind of just break it down little increments, and I have to anyway, like that. Renee's right next to me. I think he's above my head. that is it for this week. Hopefully this Sunday the Manx video should be out, cross fingers, and if not, I will see you guys next week. Okay everybody, please stay safe and lots of happy sewing. Take care. Thank you. This is supposed to be a village. I think I've just literally picked up the camera at the wrong time. It's just crazy busy right now. G'day everybody, welcome to Wind.